Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about all the books that I read in the month of July. So in July I read 7 books. It was kind of a mixed bag, I think, when it comes to kind of the quality of the books. I would say overall it was a general good month, like generally okay, but it wasn't outstanding. Like a couple of books I loved, absolutely loved, and then there were others that probably could have passed on. So I'm going to actually talk about them in ascending order. Is that correct? Traffic. So I'm going to talk about them in the order of least favorite to most favorite. Is favorite subject to gradation? I'm not sure. But let's do it this way. So I'm going to talk about the book that I liked the least this month, and this is The Secret to Happiness by Jessica Redland. I might have said this in another video. I'm still a bit behind in my videos, so you might actually see what I'm talking about in the video after this, or could be before this, I'm not sure. But I said that this book is very well written, which I still do believe, and the characters are so realistic that I feel like it could be real life. However, it is one of the most miserable books to read, like, in my opinion, because I listened to it on audiobook. Again, loved the characters, loved, the accents, and listening to it is fantastic. However, listening to that every day really took its toll on me, and to be honest, I'm not even sure why I didn't DNF it, because for about 80% of the books, it literally talks about all the terrible things that can happen to a human. So, like, there's so many trigger warnings in this book, and it's literally like each character, it follows the perspective of 3 women, and each of these women live in the same area but have very different lives, and they their lives get intertwined and interconnected. And how their connection grows is quite beautiful, and I'm watching that. But each one of them has not only issues, but quite serious issues, like serious triggers. And it actually took its toll on me to listen to it, because every day I would listen to a couple of hours of just kind of sheer misery. It's a long enough book to listen to. It's about 10, 11 hours. And it was just sheer misery for most of it. So, yes, it's a well-written book. It's by Jessica Redland, who I love. I've read a lot of her books. I actually have another book in this list, which I did really enjoy. And I have a few of them which I absolutely loved from her. It's just this book in particular, and like I said, it almost seems so real. It almost made it worse because it seems so real that it was like you were just listening to all the terrible things that could possibly happen to a human. I will leave a list of some of the things I'm talking about right here, because I can't remember them all off the top of my head. I did list them in the other video where I mentioned it. But we're talking some serious issues, and a lot of them too. So I gave this book 2.5 stars because I thought it was well written. I thought I liked the characters. I thought it was very realistic. But I did not enjoy it for about 80% of the book, I would say. The last 20 I did. And you see, the thing is, because there's so many issues, you want to see how they're resolved, or how these characters kind of make it through to the end and things like that. So it kind of pushes you when you're near the end. You're like, oh, I wonder how this is resolved, or there was one mystery in it. There's kind of a stalking situation that's happening, and you kind of want to see what happens with that as well. So it kind of does push you towards the end to finally get it resolved, because you're like, I didn't listen to this many hours of misery to not have it resolved. And to be honest, it is wrapped up really well. I really enjoyed how it ended, and for me, I was quite satisfied with the different areas and how they were, wrapped up in our opinions. So it was great. But yeah, no, for me, it was 2.5 star for sure. However, it was interesting. So yeah, it's not that I don't recommend it. It's just you should know what you're going into. Like, it is kind of like a more gloomy book for most of it. Next book I want to talk to you about is one that I started reading in June, so you'll have seen this book already, but I finally finished it in July, and that is The No Show by Beth Leary. This is the second book of Beth Leary that I have read. and I'm actually reading a third book this month, which is The Switch. And yeah, so the no-show, I gave it a 3-star. I thought that it was good, but I mean, it did have kind of some twists in it, I would say, that were kind of like, I did think about kind of before they happened, but I thought, no, I don't think that's the way it's going to go. And then it did go that way. So it was enjoyable. Definitely made me think. It's a book that I did think about afterwards, after I had read it, because, you know, it's definitely got some heavy topics in this, and it kind of like played on my mind a little bit afterwards. If you've read this book, then you probably know what I'm talking about. But this follows the perspective of 3 different women. So the women are Siobhan, Miranda, and Jane, and we follow the relationships that they have with this one man named Joseph Carter. And yeah, I'm not going to give anything away on it, but if you saw my last vlogs, I was saying how, you know, that for a lot of it seems quite surface level. Even when I was halfway through it, I was like, surely this isn't like what's actually going on, because it seems too obvious, and yeah, very surface level. So there seemed to be more going on. There was a lot more going on in it, actually, and that I found quite interesting. However, the book it didn't grip me, we'll say. It didn't kind of keep me wanting to read more. In fact, it didn't really enjoy like a couple of the characters, so it really didn't like grip me, we'll say. But I did enjoy the book as a whole. If you like Beth O'Leary's writing, and I do, I like Beth O'Leary's writing a lot, then it definitely is one to check out. It is enjoyable. It's an enjoyable book. It's got an interesting kind of premise with it, and it's actually idea I haven't read before, which is really interesting when you see something that's kind of new to you. But like I said, it didn't really blow me away either, but it was an enjoyable read. So it was 3 stars, and yeah, definitely a good book, just didn't blow me away. The next book I want to talk about is the Tea Dragon Society 2. I love the graphics in this. They're so cute. And each time we just follow the dragons and how they affect the lives of this community. And yeah, it's a quick read. It only takes me like not even half an hour to read it, just to look through it and all. And this is the second one I've read, and it's also on Kindle Unlimited, so I highly recommend you check them out. They're really cute. I gave it 3 stars, and it's just a cute little read, to be honest. The next book is another Jessica Redland book, and I did listen to this on audiobook as well, and it is Finding Love at Lighthouse Cove. Sorry if I'm looking down. I have my laptop here in front of me, and I'm just so I don't forget anything. I gave this book 3.5 stars. It wasn't my favorite book out of all of the books, but it definitely was a really, really good book. I really enjoyed it. But I like the Bayview kind of setting, community, characters. I'm kind of getting to know them now. This is the 3rd book, I believe, in this that I've read. I read Wishes at Bayview, and I'm going to write it down here. I read another one as well. And then I read this one. I could be wrong though. Maybe the 3rd one's the next one that I was going to read. Anyway, I really, really did enjoy this book. You see, the thing is, I'm thinking now, did I give it 4 stars in my vlog? Because I might have. I was swaying between 3.5 and 4 stars. But after looking at kind of the books I read this month, I thought 3.5 star, even a high 3.5 star, so 3.75 star maybe, would be better for this book. I love the characters. I love the kind of relationships that they have between each other and how they all intertwine and kind of make up this kind of quirky village. I think this is really cute. And I really enjoy listening to it. Like, the stories are very interesting, and Jessica Redland has this ability to make characters feel really real, and I like that. It's like listening to reality TV a little bit. even though we all know reality TV isn't really real, but you know what I'm saying. It's kind of like those same vibes, that you're listening to somebody's story and how it could genuinely be real. So I love that, and I give that 3.5 stars. Now, the next book, you will have already seen, no doubt. Or have you? You see, the thing is, right, I am a little behind on my videos. Like, I'm really ahead on my filming, but I'm more behind on my editing. So actually, I could be ruining the vlog that's coming up. But at least in that vlog, you get to see kind of my process in how I enjoyed these books. And also we did do a trip to the UK at the same time, and now that I'm saying that, I realize I haven't edited that, so that video is going to go up next. But we did do a trip to the UK at the same time, so you get to see that, and you get to see the little dog. I say little, actually he was quite big. Sheppy, he found his new home in Essex, so we travelled from Ireland to the UK to Essex to drop him off to his new home, and I can say that now he is doing fantastically and they are enjoying their new life together. So that is that, but let's talk about the books that I read. Now, during this time I was also doing Summerween, and actually I didn't mention that the Tea Dragon Society was one of the Summerween books that I picked, which is to read a graphic novel, manga or comic. So for this one, I was to read a thriller, and I read My Killer Vacation by Tessa Bailey. This was not a thriller. I gave this book 4.5 stars. Loved it. Loved the spice. Loved the characters. Loved the relationship. It definitely kept me gripped. You know, I wanted to read more, see what was going to happen next in this book. However, it had absolutely nothing to do with the murder mystery that happened in this book. So honestly, I didn't care about the murder mystery at all, and I think, to be honest, I can't see why many people would be interested in the murder mystery, because it literally didn't really matter about it. I mean, it did, because it caused the circumstances in which our characters came together, but nobody cares about the man. Nobody cares about him, okay? He died. That's sad, but nobody cares about him. All we care about is Miles and... what's her name? Why did I forget her name? I want to say... what's her name? Taylor. Miles and Taylor. And their relationship and how they get together and all of that kind of thing. That's all that matters in this book. So I gave it 4.5 stars because it was really interesting and I loved it. It was a quick, fluffy read with a lot of spice. But I took off 0.5 stars because it's supposed to be a murder mystery thriller, and it is. I just didn't care about it in the slightest. If it wasn't there, it would not have mattered to the book to me. Therefore, the actual plot of the book didn't matter at all. So I just gave it 4.5 stars because I really enjoyed the read. I really liked the relationship and it was quick and fun, and I recommend it to anyone. I also doubled up on this as my read a book in the dark or at night as well. So this was a double prompt book. The next one was to read a book set in fall. And this is my favorite book that I read that month, and I'm so excited. It's the Ex Hex by Erin Stirling. I bought this last autumn with the intention of reading it, and I didn't get around to it. And this was before BookTube, and I just didn't get around to it. And for the Summerween prompt, I thought, you know what? I'm going to give it a go. I thought it would just be light and fluffy, which it kind of is, but I loved it. Like, loved it. Like 5 stars, loved it. I love the setting, I love the characters, I love Reese, his dry humour is fantastic. Like, this book made me actually laugh out loud a couple of times. And he's supposed to be from Wales in the UK, and is definitely UK humour, I can tell you that. Like, it's definitely that dry, sarcastic humour that I absolutely love. So many quotes in here that I was like actually laughing out loud with. So Reese, it's about Reese and Vivi, and Vivi is in love with him kind of, and it's kind of a summer fling, and then they break up. I'm not going to tell you why about anything, but years later, like that night, her and her cousin kind of hexed him. It's kind of an accident, accidentally on purpose, as in it was on purpose, but they didn't really mean to do anything. And this comes back to bite them in the future. And because Reese is a Penhallow, which means that he kind of helped create the village that they live in, he has to come back for various reasons, and this whole thing kind of comes from there. And this is a village where witches and warlocks live side by side with humans, but humans don't realize that the magic is real. So basically, if we lived there, we'd be oblivious. We'd just think, it was cute things, but, fake magic, essentially. Not fake magic, that's not what I mean. But, like alternative kind of, the way we would see magic is how the humans in here see magic, but the witches and warlocks know that magic is completely different and that it's actually plays a big part in the way they live in that village. And in the vlog where I talk about this, I did say I'm going to look into her writing. I want to find more books from her because I just loved this book and loved the humor, loved the characters and everything. And then I found it. 1 second. I found The Kiss Curse and it was only €3 in the works. And as soon as I picked it up, as soon as I started Erin Stirling, I was like, oh my god, another one. And then I read it and it's actually from Graves Glen, the same area with the same characters. And I'm so excited, honestly. But this is from Gwen, so her cousin's point of view. And I'm not really reading the back because I don't want to know what it's about. And I will take the stickers off, don't worry. But yeah, I'm so excited. So I'm keeping this for my holiday, for my plane journey. And it's because I'm so excited to read it that, yeah. The next book that I listened to on audiobook, it was absolutely 5 stars as well, which is The Beach Cafe by Lucy Diamond. And this book I actually picked up on audiobook from my local library, from BorrowBox, the app. And I didn't have high hopes for it. I'm not going to lie, I thought it was just a fluffy read, but I found it. And I did like the idea of it, when I read the blurb or synopsis or whatever at the back. I did like that, and that's why I picked it. But then when I actually went to, play it, I was like, okay, we'll see how this goes. I loved it. I loved the voices for a start, as in the narrator, who I'm going to put it here, was fantastic. I loved the humor in it again. It was kind of dry English humor, which I love. It was so interesting because it's actually something that I could see myself doing. So I absolutely thought that was fantastic. And it was just so interesting. I loved the characters. I loved everything about it, and it was absolute 5 stars for me. If you're into a beach read with a cast of kind of quirky characters, found family, starting from nothing, and a quirky kind of romance as well, then this is the book for you. I loved listening to it, and that got 5 stars from me. Yeah, so that was my wrap up for July. They're all the books I read. As you can see, kind of a mixed bag. I had the Ex Hex, I had My Killer Vacation, I had The Beach Cafe, and then on the other end of the scale, Secret to Happiness and The No Show. Again, not terrible books, just they were okay. They were okay. I wouldn't read them again, whereas with this, absolutely would read again. And to be honest, I probably would read that again if I was like bored or, something, if I just wanted a quick kind of romance read, maybe a couple years or something. I actually probably would pick that up again. And I actually would listen to The Beach Cafe again, sorry. So yeah, I guess that's kind of sometimes how I kind of view my books, which is like, would I read this again? If I do, then 5 star, because there's so many books in the world that, if you're going to pick up the same book twice, then obviously they have to be good and they have to hold my interest. And to be honest, this book, I can kind of see me reading like every autumn, I can kind of see it kicking off at autumn time or something like that. Because apart from kind of Harry Potter, to be honest, I don't really have many rereads that I would just read over and over again. But this is one that I could definitely see me reading a second time, a third time, a fourth time. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. So yeah, there you have it. That's my book list and my opinions for the month of July, and I'm excited about the month of August. At the moment, I'm actually reading The Switch by Beth Leary, and little spoiler, I absolutely love this book. Absolutely love it already, and I am on, I think, chapter 21, 22. Yeah, and I absolutely love it. So yeah, leave me a comment down below letting me know what you liked, what you didn't like, if you've read any of these books, what you read in July. I'd love to talk to you about books in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and if you haven't already, then please like and subscribe this video, obviously if you liked this video. And I will have so many more videos, vlogs, recommendation videos, wrap-ups, TBRs, and many more coming your way in the future. Thank you so much once again, and I will see you very soon. Goodbye.